welcome back. We have the 5-pack for the NFL this week, bringing in a guest picker and my little brother Travis in his Saquon Barkley jersey there. It's kind of ugly, but we'll let him pass with that one. So since you're the guest speaker, we're going to start you out here. We're gonna go up to Foxborough, but it's going to be the Pats and the Jets. Pats are getting 3 here. What do you think with that, Trav?
I don't know. This one's a tough one. It's in East Rutherford, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I meant to say that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, come on. I don't know. This one's rough because the Jets are playing so well right now, but they haven't beat the Pats since 2015. Then again, you don't know which version of Mac you're going to get, if you're going to get the healthy version or not, if Zappy's going to come in. I don't know. The offense kind of slowed down a little last week against the Broncos once Breece Hall got hurt. I don't know. My gut's telling me give me Jets money line.
Travis got Jets money line. I'm gonna go opposite here. I'm gonna go Pats -3. I was Jets all day, and it just doesn't feel right to fade Belichick in 2 games against what I feel like is probably inferior teams. I know the Jets have a better record this year and look better. But like you said, with Breece Hall going down, their offense did kind of take a step back. I know they traded for James Robinson, and that's going to be a huge piece. But is he fully acclimated to the playbook yet? Maybe. I know he can learn a playbook pretty well. So unlike somebody that got traded by the Giants recently. But I don't see Belichick losing 2 games in a row like he did. They got embarrassed by the Bears, and the Bears put up 30 points for the first time in what feels like 5 years. So that's the only reason I'm going with the Pats, just kind of relying on that superiority of probably one of the best coaches of all time. And just to kind of throw out a little stats here, according to VSIN, 37% of the bets are on the Pats, but 68% of the money is on the Pats. So a lot of the sharp money's on the Pats -3. So I'm gonna go with that one. What do you got, Grayson?
I watched the Bears game, and I have no choice but to take the 3 points. I mean, they just look so bad. And if the Bears offense can be brought back to life, then I'm sure James Robinson can flip through 5 pages of a playbook and run for 80 yards against this team. I don't understand it. This Patriots team on the road, favored against anybody but my high school, makes no sense to me. I mean, the Jets, obviously, they're not probably as good as their record at 5-2, but I mean, at home, Breece Hall, huge loss. He's much better than James Robinson, but James Robinson's much better than Michael Carter. So I think James Robinson, I'll draft a guy. He's had to climb uphill his whole career, so this week should be nothing different. The best version of Mac Jones is the one sitting on the bench, so hopefully he plays most of the game. They don't go to Zappy until it's too late. And this Jets team can get it done at home and finally beat the Patriots. Haven't gotten it done in regulation since 2010. I think 2015, like Travis said, was the last time they got it done at all. So also the Jets in alternate black helmets, which looks sick. So I'm hoping that inspires them a little bit. And yeah, give me Jets +3.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I was Jets all day, and then I was just sitting here looking over my stuff before we got on here, and I was like, dude, how do I go against Belichick? But it is one of those lines where you're looking at it, and you're like, how are they favored on the road against a team with a better record who's performed better recently and as bad as they looked in their last game? So it's just a weird line. So I might be on the wrong side of it. We're going to move on up to Minnesota. We got Cards versus the Vikings there. Vikings are getting they're -3.5. What do you like with that one, Grayson?
There's 2 things out for the Cardinals that are very key in this game. One is James Conner, and the other is Modern Warfare 2. So give me the Vikings -3.5. They're, I think, one of the better teams in the NFC. They've done it quietly. 1 loss to this point. That was to the Eagles, who I think is far and away the best team in the NFC right now. So I just, at home, this Cardinals team on the road has looked not great. They had to come back huge against Vegas to win in overtime. Beat your Panthers by 10, which is about the best they've looked. And they lost to Seattle 19-9, and probably their ugliest box score of the year. So Vikings, coming off a bye, they sit 3 games up in the NFC North, but I think they're well aware. They've had leads like this in the past, and Aaron Rodgers has figured it out. But if they just keep winning games week in, week out, especially at home, then there's really not much those teams can do to chase them down in the division. So Being off the bye helps. Nuke back for the Cardinals gives me a little bit of pause, but I don't know if Benjamin can carry that backfield enough to upset them or really keep it within about a touchdown. So I'm pretty comfortable laying the 3.5 with Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm also going to lay the 3.5 with Minnesota. I don't have many things to throw out on this week except Call of Duty came out. We know how bad Kyler is with Call of Duty. In his defense, he did get D-Hop back, and they looked a lot better last week. Well, they looked better. But, I mean, it's opening weekend of Call of Duty. You think he's actually studying the playbook and studying film? I don't think so. And like you said, I mean, Minnesota's won a bunch of games. I think some of the reason for, like, people not really liking them is they don't score enough touchdowns on drive. They don't finish drives off. They score a lot of field goals. But if there's a team that they could finish drives off, or I think it's this Cards team. So I'm gonna lay the 3.5 with the Vikings too. What you got, Trav?
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement on this one. The way I see it is Modern Warfare 2 released Kyler Murray against 1 o'clock Kirk Cousins, and I take 1 o'clock this one.
Yeah, I did see an interesting stat though. Kirk Cousins is the epitome of mediocre. He's 60-60-2 in his career, which is just ugly to even say. So for future reference, if they win this game, we might as well fade them next game, right? I mean, if the trend fits, right? So, but all right, we're heading out west. You're repping the team, Travis. I'm gonna let you go first. Giants at the Seahawks. Seahawks are getting 3. Seahawks are laying 3. Who you got with this one?
Obviously, got to go to my team. But, this year we're 6-0 in one possession games. On the other hand, Kenneth Walker, since week 5, has led the NFL in yards and broken tackles. And obviously, you saw ETN run all over our defense as we ranked 30th in the league in rush defense. So it is a little scary in that aspect, but Daboll's got something cooking over in East Rutherford this year, man. I'm telling you, we're looking solid. So give me Giants money line.
Yeah, I unfortunately have to also go with that and go against my guy Geno in Seattle. I mean, the Seahawks are giving up over 400 yards a game, and Saquon looks fantastic. He looks like a true number 2 pick in the NFL draft this year. That offense, I mean, they're not super explosive unless Saquon breaks a couple of tackles, but I mean, they do take care of the ball pretty well. They have their home run plays, and then the plays that aren't home run plays, they execute. So that's all that matters when it comes down to winning a game. So I don't really have much to go off of it besides the fact that, like you said, they're 6-0 in one possession games. So I'm going to take Giants +3, probably sprinkle the money line like we always do. What you got, Grayson?
Yeah, I mean, you guys have both touched on it. When games get close, this team wins them. Daniel Jones has 5 game-winning drives in their 7 games. This just seems like whatever happens the first 50, 55 minutes of a game, it always closes and ends with the Giants win. Tried Jags money line last week, didn't work. Same script as the whole season. It was Jags, and then crunch time came and the Giants won the game. So this Seahawks team, probably smoke and mirrors, even at 4-3, but they were probably projected to be 2-5 at this point. They destroyed the Chargers, so if nothing else, out of spite, I'm going to go with the Giants. I'll take the 3. I don't think we'll need it. I think they went outright. I'll probably take it like that come Sunday morning. But yeah, Brian Daboll has something going. They've offloaded Kadarius Toney to the Chiefs. That might be addition by subtraction, at least in the locker room, which has clearly been just fine without him as they keep finding ways to win games. So, yeah, give me the Giants, the best rushing team in the NFL yards-wise, led by Saquon, and give me the +3.
All right, so now we're gonna head out to LA, stay in the West Coast. We got a rematch from earlier this year, a little grudge match for the Rams facing the 49ers, and they now have my prized possession in CMC. So how you feeling on that one, Grayson? Get us started here.
Unfortunate news for the Niners about an hour ago. No Deebo Samuel. That's seeing the line come down to -1 in favor of the Niners. That was about 1.5 before that. But like you mentioned, there's this CMC guy in town now, and he's only been there about 10 days. But I think without him there, I would probably lean Rams, especially at home. But with McCaffrey there, the dynamic element he keeps there, even with Deebo not in the picture. This Niners team has had their defense just ravaged by injuries, and they're starting to be around the corner on that. The Chiefs put up, I think, 44 on them last week, but the Rams are not the Chiefs on offense, certainly. The offensive line for the Rams is pretty bad. They've gone through a lot of injuries, especially my guy, Clemson guy, Tremaine Ankrum. But I don't know how they keep him upright. Nick Bosa back, a couple other impact guys on the pass rush for the Niners are back. The Niners seem to own the Rams. I was on the right side of them at home in this matchup. They won it pretty convincingly. Great time to buy low on the Niners. They're coming off losses against the Falcons and last week the Chiefs, like I mentioned. I still think they're one of the better teams in the NFC. Might have the best roster out there. So I'm still comfortable, even without Debo, taking the Niners -1 on the road.
Yeah, to be fair, I didn't know Debo was out, but I don't think it's really going to change it for me. Kind of piggybacking off of you, they have won their last 7 against the Rams. Just seems like they have the Rams number, even when they weren't necessarily the superior team. Like you said, Debo being out is a different factor, but now that they have Christian McCaffrey there, they're not necessarily losing that whole dynamic thing because he could line up in slot and play receiver. He can line up in the backfield just like Debo. It just takes another weapon away from Jimmy G to maybe dump down to since he doesn't throw it very deep often. Ayuk has stepped his game up though, so I do think that'll help them a lot. And D'Amico Ryan has their defense playing so well with Nick Bosa coming back. I don't see this struggling Rams offensive line stopping them. So I will also take the Niners in this one. Plus, it's basically a home game. The Rams can never fill their stadium up with their own fans, so it's not like it's going to be a huge difference there. What you got, Trav?
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed out the Rams struggling O-line. They just look terrible, plain and simple this year. That struggling offense in a general as a whole. The addition of CMC for the Niners, even like we're saying, without Debo Samuel, I don't think there's any way that the Rams pull this one out. So I'm going San Francisco -1.
Yeah, so I mean we've all been pretty much the same on these so far, heading into the last one, except me with the Pats in the first game so far.
Scares me a little bit, but we'll see.
It scares me a lot. But heading to the last one, we're going back up to New York, but this time over to Buffalo. We got the really fraudulent, struggling Packers going into Buffalo, laying 11 points. So who you got there, Trav?
We've been talking this week about this one a little bit. We've been kind of butting heads with it. I don't know. Obviously, we know the Bills is a pass offense, but we know Josh Allen and Devin Singletary have been running the ball fairly well this year. That kind of goes well for them in their offense as the Packers give up about 140 rushing yards a game. We're kind of missing that wide receiver 1, cornerback 1 matchup this week with Tre'Davious White out and Lazard not playing as well. So, unfortunately for the Packers, they're going to have to roll with Romeo Doubs, Sammy Watkins, and maybe a 75% healthy Christian Watson. I just don't think that the way the Packers defense is playing this year that they can stop MVP frontrunner Josh Allen. So I'm going Bills with the points against them.
Yeah, like you were saying, me and you were kind of butting heads in our texts back and forth. I was like, man, I just don't see how the Packers and Aaron Rodgers get smacked this many games in a row. But like you said, especially with them coming off a bye. I think that's really what threw me over the edge. The Bills coming off a bye, they had time to kind of rest and really watch film and get prepared for this game. So them at home, I'm going to also lay the 11. I hate taking double-digit favorites, especially in the NFL. But I just don't, with Lazard out, Watkins is still questionable technically, and Christian Watson is questionable technically. So they could go, but they could not go. I don't see the offense of the Packers being able to score with the high-powered offense of the Bills. I know we say that a lot, but I mean, when it comes down to it, that's how the dice rolls. So the only script that I can see the Packers covering here is if they really run the ball and try and play the time of possession game. And I don't see Aaron Rodgers falling into that. He's too worried about throwing the ball to as much as he can sometimes. So even if it's a dump down. So what do you got with this one, Grayson?
Yeah, I mean, this Packers offense not gone above points in regulation. The closest they got was the Bears in week 2, beating 27-10. The one game Lazard missed was the opener against the Vikings. They lost that game 23-7. That offense looked atrocious, and I think they're in for it again this week. Jones and Dillon are a great duo. They've been silent for weeks now. I just don't know how you keep up with this Bills team off a bye. The game before the bye, they went to Arrowhead, beat the Chiefs. They didn't need 30 points to do that, but I think they get to at least 30 points in this one. And I struggle to see how the Packers get in the end zone more than once, maybe twice, while people are tuned in and care and it even matters. The biggest thing with spreads like this are the back door is going to be wide open, but as bad as this Packers offense has looked, I don't see it. They've lost 3 straight games. Washington last week was bad. It wasn't that close. They lost 23-21, but they roared back to make it that deficit. They should have lost by more. The Jets beat them 27-10 at home, and one of the more embarrassing results recently for the Packers at all. And I mean, this Bills team at home, they've beaten the Titans 41-7 and the Steelers 38-3. So when they're heavy favorites, they take care of business. And we've seen some craziness in the witching hour, but this will be in prime time. The Bills will be ready. They realize what's in front of them and what their future could hold if they keep playing at a high level. And I don't think the Packers trip them up. So, yeah, give me -11.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, the Bills, they're on a mission this year. That last second playoff loss to the Chiefs, I think, clicked for them. So they're playing too well. Packers are playing too bad for me to not take, even though it's a huge spread. There we go. That's our 5-pack of the NFL for the week. As you can tell, Grayson and Travis are on the same bets for everything. So hopefully it's a good weekend for the boys. I got 4 out of 5 the same. So let's hope that we got the right side of these games and we gave y'all some good information here. And let's have a week. Make sure you check out the 1009 podcast. I forgot to call them out last time we did it, but you got to call it. Well, you got to check them out. They do really good stuff over there. The one with Chase Bryce was phenomenal. Try to give a listen to it every now and then, as much as I can. So go check them out. Go give us a follow on Twitter. I'll be posting this to that and to YouTube. So have a good one.